Hello friends and welcome to The Press. It took 144 minutes of play, but the GOAT has arrived. Speaking of GOATs, joining me to go through all the action from Matchday 6, journalist and broadcaster Julian Laurent and football analyst Cormac McCainch. Right, let's get you up to speed with everything in a shocking day of football. A moment of Messi magic for Inter Miami saw the MLS side beat European giants Porto. We're going to take a look at his goal and his performance on the night. And in the same group, it was liftoff for Palmeiras too as they beat Ahly 2-0. But did Estevao finally make his mark? No sleepless night in Seattle for Atletico Madrid as they bounced back from their nightmare opening game with a deserved win. And finally, last but certainly not least, the boys from Brazil got the better of PSG to smash Group B wide open. So how did Fogo shut out the free-scoring Parisians? We'll explain exactly how they did it. Okay, what an incredible Matchday 6 we've just had here. So, Inter Miami went into their game with Porto needing a result. So, who would step up to be the match winner? I'll give you one guess.
Well, here we go then, match 18 of the FIFA Club World Cup. It's coming to you live from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Well, we're going to go back to VAR on that penalty.
Number 32 commit foul with tripping. Final decision is penalty kick.
Penalty to Porto. Samu Antihawa steps up.
Fantastic start from Porto.
There's the overlap. Back inside! Segovia! Messi, Suarez. Messi goes down to ground. Free kick in a really dangerous area for Inter Miami. Messi! It's marvellous! It's magical! It's Messi! Who else would it be? And it's more history written for the home side in the FIFA Club World Cup.
Death, taxes and Lionel Messi. Inevitable stuff. Let's see what's being said about that Messi goal and Inter Miami's performance on socials. Of course, you can get involved using the hashtag #ThePressCWC. And people are talking, understandably, about Lionel Messi and that free kick. So many talking points, but this was a big one. Let's get XG in there early doors to calm down Cormac. 0.08 XG. Lionel Messi has arrived at the Club World Cup. Next up, simply Leo Messi. No hype needed, no comparisons required, just brilliance, elegance and records rewritten again and again. The GOAT. And David Beckham, he's piped up, but he would, wouldn't he? He's the owner of Inter Miami, but still it's valid. No one like him. Beckham knows we're witnessing something football may never see again. There's only one Leo Messi. Fantastic stuff. OK, so I feared for Inter Miami, I've got to be honest, in this one, because they were incredibly open against Ahly. Let's have a look at the tactics board here. And in that first game, you can see this is how they kind of set up. And certainly when they lost the ball, they were just so open. And something needed to change. And I thought against Porto, it might be difficult for them because there isn't that outrageous amount of physicality when you've got lights of Busquets and Suarez and Messi in this team. But what they did for this game, they got compact. They got really compact. A couple of changes made, and they had that 4-4-2 mid-block. But not just that, they were really assertive with their play. We can show you exactly what I'm talking about. First of all, without Ahly, and it was in transition that I thought they might get hurt today. And this is from that game here against Ahly, and you can see 7 minutes into the tournament, just one player back. That Trezeguet on that left-hand side, we'll talk about in a little bit later on. And it's one where they were just all at sea, really. And I think against a better team, which Porto we would expect to be, we thought that they would take chances like this and it could be a tough time. But look at this. This is from the game today. So much more tenacity. Yes, they lose the ball, but in transition, snapping in. But even if they do elude that, they're still able to delay by having those 3 players back. And the whole team was just a bit more switched on, worked just that little bit harder, were a bit more assertive, and they were able to delay. This is just about 5 or 6 seconds later, and you can see now, nice and compact, making life difficult for a Porto side that had a few moments, but Inter Miami kept them at bay overall. I thought they did really, really well. And you can see the whole team moving over to that other side of the pitch. You've got Suarez pressing on the left-hand side as well. Really, really great stuff from them. But Porto had their own shape, and I always have this phrase, 2 things can be true. And the Porto shape kind of worked at times, but Inter Miami was also able to keep them at bay. Talk us about Porto and their shape.
Yeah, Anselmi is a really well-regarded young manager, and Porto have been going through a little bit of a transition in recent years, so they came 3rd in the Portuguese league this season, but their shape, this 3-2-4-1 that we see, is actually the same shape that Amorim is trying to implement with Man United this season and is having some difficulty. But we can see the main dangers of a system like this with these switches in play, and then there's always these runs from the inside forwards into the half space, and they do this from a deep position like we saw there, but they want to do it all over the pitch. So we can see, for example, in this clip here, they are much further up in the pitch. You still have 5 players on the defensive line. And again, there's so much space on the opposite flank for the wing-back to receive the ball. And there's always an inside forward, there's always a midfielder that's dragging away the defender and is giving time for the cross. And in this case, it's actually the right centre-back that gets all the way forward to deliver the ball. And they nearly get a goal.
Yeah, and as I said, in terms of 2 things being true, they did create openings, but you had enough bodies for Inter Miami to shut them out. And it's one way, it's not going to be perfect for Inter Miami because they don't have that physicality overall. So you've got to do the best you can, and they certainly did. And then you might decide to rely on a bit of quality. And there was one pairing, we've seen it through the years, they're still enjoying themselves playing together. They nearly rolled back the years, but sadly the years have rolled on. That partnership between Messi and Suarez was there to see today. Messi was great, wasn't he?
Definitely, and you can see they probably can find each other with their eyes closed. They've been so used to playing with each other. They're great friends off the pitch as well. You see the ball there from Messi, and again, probably a Suarez of 3 or 4 years ago scores this one, and again, this one is just a little bit late, and it's enough for the goalkeeper to come out. But Messi's genius is still there, certainly in terms of passing and vision. Of course, he can't dribble like he used to. He can't run like he used to with the ball.
That's all right, isn't it?
I think that's the only dribble he did.
Okay, fair enough.
But still, he's there. He just needs a lot of running people, offering options and solutions around him. And Suarez, unfortunately, is not, again, there. You would expect Suarez to score this, and he's a little bit late.
This replay is great, though, isn't it, Julian? Because look at his arm. He's sort of ready. The awareness to have hold off that player, but also play that pass. And I think, yeah, Suarez a couple of years ago, he makes that, but not today. But you can see them doing bits. But this is the moment. Oh, good Lord, that's a gorgeous free kick.
2 weeks, 38 in 2 weeks.
38 in 2 weeks. And add another 30, I'll do the maths quickly, 68 free kicks. That's the most free kicks. Third most free kicks. And, I mean, you wouldn't bet against him going all the way. He is so clutch in those moments, isn't he?
He always shows up in moments when you need him. He's always ready. And today, maybe he didn't have too many opportunities playing from a deeper position, but when you get a free kick, you know you can rely on him.
Yeah. In terms of question marks going into this, because I think it was an underwhelming first game, wasn't it? It was disappointing overall. And you did feel like it was going to have to be Lionel Messi to carry them. The question then becomes, when he's nearly 38, can he still do it? Do you still think we've got the best Messi? Do you think he's dropped off a touch?
Yeah, a little bit still. And again...
He's just got the match winner. It's just been the difference,
but amazing. But we saw limitations when he was still in Europe, for example, with PSG, where when the level of the opposition got higher and better, then he struggled, and he still relies a lot on people around him, and there's not that much talent really in this Inter Miami, so at times he feels a little bit isolated as the genius that he is.
I agree. I think that's the key point. 2 key passes for Messi in this one. Would have been 4. We've just shown you those other chances. If you've got maybe a striker or Luis Suarez who's a couple of years younger, then he's still genius, isn't he? Anyway, it's not just us, or me in particular, who has lost my mind over that free kick, but it was a free kick heard around the world.
Messi! Bang! It's marvellous! It's magical! It's Messi! Messi!
Allá va Messi, 53 y medio, golpea Messi. ¡Gol! Por favor.
Leo, es zurda. ¡Golazo!
Lionel Messi. Da läuft einfach eine Ziege rum.
Coach Messi! Un génie, reste un génie! Même à 37 ans! Léo Messi délicieux!
So, we might need a translation for one of them. I'm not very good at languages. So, Julian, the French commentary there, poetry as ever. What was it?
Yeah, a genius will always be a genius, even at 37. And the one from Taiwan was... no, I'm kidding.
Wow, I was in shock there. I was, oh, my word. OK, so, brilliant stuff. How can I recover? Here we go. So, Brandon Smith was commentating on that goal, and he joins us now. Now, there's a phrase I'm going to talk about my mum again here. She says, the universe provides. And poor Brandon had Mamelodi Sundowns in his first game. We spoke to him just before it, and he had to deal with 40 minutes of delay and fill with Don Hutchison, of which he did fantastically, but the universe did provide, and you have now commentated over an outrageous Messi free kick. How does that feel? It's all downhill from here, surely.
What I said, I think, on social media afterwards, it really is down from here. I don't think you can get any higher. I mean, what an amazing experience this has been for me, of course, coming into more traditional football to where I've come from before. And then to get a Lionel Messi free kick goal in a FIFA Club World Cup, you know, will he play in the next one? He'd be 42 years of age at that point. So just to get that, I think commentators wait years. I've had it in my first two games. So I think I've been quite lucky, actually, thinking about it, James.
Yes, I think you have. And actually, if you go on the DAZN socials, you can see a commentator cam of Brandon. And there is a moment, the goal goes in, you say Messi, and then you fall back almost for a second, close your eyes, because obviously it's been a long journey for you. And so to do that, you must have been like, what is going on? We've heard the commentary around the world. What about the sound in the stadium? What was that like?
Yeah, very punchy, to say the least, when that goal went in, because look, let's not beat around the bush here. It was 3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon in America, and people were at work, and 99% of people in that stadium were Inter Miami shirts with Messi on the back, fans that have travelled into Atlanta, Georgia to watch that man play, and just what a moment. What an incredible moment. Lionel Messi, I mean, look, I'll be honest, at points in that game, Porto should have been 2 or 3 in front at half-time, and then when you need Messi to turn up and play, he did. And Messi into Miami, they are on the verge of getting through to the round of 16, depending on what they can do next week. Yeah, which of course is great for the tournament because everyone loves to watch Messi play. Bit of a technical question for you. When you're commentating and Lionel Messi's on the pitch, I was talking to Julian in the green room about it, when you're watching him live, you're sort of watching the game, but you're also quickly going, where is he? Where's Lionel Messi? For yourself, how much do you get to watch him and how much do you get to kind of watch the game? How do you sort of balance it out for you? Yeah, it was a tough one because in the first half, as much as Inter Miami were playing a 4-4-2, he sort of dropped into like a centre midfielder role at one point. It was a little bit odd. He was sort of, I mean, it's Messi, he can do what he wants, but he was playing as like a centre midfielder next to Busquets for great depth, hence why he was playing those balls through to Luis Suarez, as you saw a couple of those assists and those moments. Then the second half, he moved more into his usual, I would say more of a 4-4-1-1. He was in that number 10 role, compared to being a secondary striker, and then that's when he really started to influence the game. So to answer your question, it's one of those, you always keep an eye on Lionel Messi, but you never know, mate. You really never know, because he just pops out from anywhere. And I just think when that happens, I listen back on commentary now, all the different languages, and you think they all sound a bit more excited, but you just had to let the moment breathe for a minute because it was just iconic.
Did you be honest? Did you have a line prepared just in case you saw something special from Messi, or did it just came to you on the moment? It's just the inspiration, and you just went for it.
The 3 M's. I had it in my mind. There was a 3 M's in there. It was something about being a magician, and then it just came as that. It's marvelous. It's magic. It's Messi. I'm sitting there thinking, should I have said Lionel Messi? I don't know, but who cares?
Yeah, you've just got to go with it in those moments. But Brandon, absolutely sensational stuff. We all kind of knew he was going to score before he even kicked it as well. So he had that kind of time to set up. Brandon, absolutely fantastic stuff. Congratulations on that, especially after that Mamelodi Sundowns. Not debacle, but it was difficult, wasn't it? All the best. Good luck in your next one. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Good man. OK, so there was another storm break at Palmeiras against Ahly, but that didn't stop it from being an exciting affair.
This afternoon in New Jersey, two of the best supported teams on the planet come together. Did he go over the top of the ball? Wow, he did! And it's a red card for Rafael Veiga.
The contact is low on the foot, and he does not leave the floor 2 feet. Therefore, my final decision is yellow card.
So it's gone from a red to a yellow. With the ball in. It's flicked on and into the back of the net, and it's an own goal. Lopez clean free. Chance to make it 2 for Palmeiras. Still going, Lopez. Makes it 2. Superbly taken by the Argentinian. So it's Palmeiras who win here by 2-0.
So a 2-0 victory for Palmeiras. Let's see how it looks when it comes to Group A. Palmeiras top of the group on goal difference. Of course, first round of games were all 0-0s. So 4 points for themselves and Inter Miami, and then FC Porto and Ahly with 1 point each. All to play for in that final game. Let's talk about Palmeiras a little bit more, because Palmeiras versus Ahly was another chance for us to see the wonder kid. He's nicknamed Messi Estevao. And he did have some moments in the game, but this game generally left me a little bit frustrated. Jules, we've seen him twice now, and he does glide beautifully, but something's missing, is it not?
Yeah, you're right. There's clearly something there. You see that run there, wonderful, especially from the ref cam.
Bit of ref cam.
Brilliant. But then at the end, he should at least be on target. Lack of composure. It's a game where he only made 7 passes in 75 minutes, which is very little when you are the best player in your team, and clearly the team will play for you. But again, that touch was great, the first touch. Then he managed to cross, but he also lost the ball 8 times out of 21 touches. Only 21 touches, by the way. And to be fair, he touches the ball a lot every time he was on the ball in this game. So we've pretty much seen all the touches that he had in this game. So again, over 75 minutes, I just don't think we saw enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice to see these clips just to get a better feel of him, because he's got this lovely glide about him, which you wonder with the space that he might have being out wide for Chelsea, if he is able to get one-on-one, but also have that bit of pace to glide past them, slalom past them, he's going to be a real problem for defensives in that Maresca side. But overall, yeah, the wonder kids have kind of flattered to deceive. It's the old boys. Come on. It's the old boys that are doing bits at the moment. I did get very frustrated in this game because Ahly are a good side. I'm telling you, they are a really good side, but they are wasting chances time and again. It's been a few shows, but it's time for my first rant. Here it comes. David Trezeguet. Oh, he gets in some brilliant positions all the time, but the final decision, every time they go into the final third, it just felt like it was wrong. And you could say the same about that first game against Inter Miami there. Look, can he play the pass? And then when he lays it off, the shot, it's not the right decision. Trezeguet on this left-hand side, you might remember from his time at Aston Villa, he is someone who has got a threat about him. And can he play a little pass in there? Doesn't even need to be the outside of the boot. He could use his left foot, or he could put that cross into that area that's there as well. Instead, he delays, he slows down, he doesn't make a quick decision, and then it's a poor pass, and Palmeiras player nearly loses his leg, poor bloke. And then again, on transition, breaking, who is it? It's Trezeguet again in a great area. And if you imagine that final third line, he moves on, and as soon as that moment happens, it costs them. For them to have not scored a goal in this tournament is just, it's such a shame. And yeah, it shouldn't be happening. They should have a win, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah, because they played really well in the same way against Inter Miami in the first game, and it's exactly the same pattern that we saw where they create things. They are with good position in the box, and then they just don't make anything out of it. And I just don't understand how you can be so wasteful at that level for such a good team with good players. And that might cost them a qualification.
Yeah, it could have. I mean, it could have been so different. One with the sort of missed chances, but also a red card, which was rescinded by Anthony Taylor, our very own in England, was the referee here. And Veiga slid in. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, guys. because he kind of slids in. It feels like he does go over the ball, and there's been a lot of controversy when it comes to the referees and VAR. Pretty quick, Anthony Taylor, to do it. And Vega straight away wagging the finger there. And in the end, Anthony Taylor here, you can hear him. And this is a new aspect of it, that the referees are now delivering the news, be it good or bad. And you can hear him here. I think it's a Manchester accent, which is lovely to see on the world stage. And he said it was reckless, but the contact was low. I'm getting more and more confused generally. Julian, because we had Rico Lewis yesterday getting sent off for kind of, not a timid one, but the leg kind of going up.
Yeah.
It's awkward, isn't it? Yeah,
it is a little bit. And I agree with you. You made a great point about it. I thought he took the red card out so quickly, really quickly. And I don't think he had to be so quick. And I think he regretted it straight away. He could have waited a little bit more. And I think in the end, he made the right decision by correcting it.
OK. Well, if Jules says it's right, then it must be right.
I think it's a great decision to have the referees being mic'd up. And you can hear the thought process and get the fans a little bit more involved, because these VAR decisions can sometimes take a really long time. So having more insight into what the ref is thinking, I think, is a great addition.
Great point. OK, Atletico Madrid needed to bounce back after that heavy defeat to PSG, and Diego Simeone's men did just that.
Seattle Sounders on home soil against Spain's Atletico Madrid. Simeone, the Barrios! A terrific finish. Marcos Llorente off the bar and down again, and then put in to make it 2. And Axel Witsel doubles their lead. Turned down towards Rothrock. Oh, the snapshot is put away by Rosnak. Atletico in towards Sermon. Came off Bell. Barrios put away by Pablo Barrios. There is the full-time whistle. And Atletico are right back in the mix.
Just what the doctor ordered for Diego. Atletico versus Seattle. It surprised us with how open it was. Cormac, there was one player that stole the show when it came to this game, Barrios. Incredible performance from him.
He did, yeah, and he was the superior man of the match, quite deservedly. And I think what's interesting is that Simeone actually used him in a slightly different position in this match than he did compared to the game against PSG. And he started as the left midfielder or the left winger, which allowed him to create a little bit more of a combination with his teammates. We can see it here, the versatility of this player, being able to wriggle out of these tight spaces, linking up with Sorloth on the flank here as well, and just creating a lot of space and a lot of confusion that led to some really good chances for Atletico, and finishing his chances beautifully. This, in particular, I really appreciate the strike into the top corner there.
It's really not. It's great to see that little tweak of him, giving that little bit more room. Obviously, a very different opponent. Kind of, who are Atletico Madrid here? Because, I mean, a good win there. They looked pretty tidy. The finishing overall was there. Sorloth missing 1 or 2. But after that poor game against PSG, how are you feeling about Atletico?
I think, for me, they're still looking for identity. Either it's the old Atletico that was so good defensively and so deep and just playing on the counter, or trying to play a little bit more. And I'm not sure if Simeone can do that, but players like Barrios, who's still only 22, by the way, so there's much more to come from him. He's going to improve. He's a Spanish international as well now. You can play better than what we saw against PSG, where they were very negative, very defensive again, with really no effect to it. So I think there's still, for me, there's still a little bit in between and not really sure which way to go.
And Barrios, 77 touches, 52 passes, 2 goals, one of the performances of the tournament. Keep an eye out for Barrios for the rest of the tournament. Right, this was a clash of the big hitters. Next up, you got the European champions against the South American champions. The winner would progress to the round of 16. So we're going to have a look at it here because the game is just finished. And we have probably our shock of the tournament so far. A fantastic goal by Igor Jesus, who has been one of the stars of the tournament as well, scored in the first game. He got his chance here, and we're going to explain exactly how they got it done. Slightly deflected, but a deserved goal, and it was going there anyway, wasn't it, Cormac?
Yeah, Botafogo defended really well, and they took their chances, they took their chance, let's say, extremely well as well. But they gave PSG no space down the middle, and they had a really clear game plan that they were able to stick to for the whole 90 minutes.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the group then. You wouldn't have expected this at the start of the tournament. It's on its way. Well, I can tell you, Botafogo are top of the group now. See, it smashed the group wide open so much that it took a second to load. There we go, we're all good. Botafogo with 6 points, Paris Saint-Germain in second place. Jules is in bits.
I know.
3 points. Atletico Madrid, 3 points. And Seattle Sounders with no points. And importantly, Botafogo playing Atletico Madrid in that final game, which we thought might be a bit of a shootout. And maybe it still kind of is, but that goal difference might actually cost them as time goes on. But how did Botafogo stop PSG? Well, we can head to the tactics board and I can show you exactly how they did it because it was clever stuff. And we were talking about it before the game started. We're like, how on earth do you stop this PSG side? Because they've been absolutely fantastic. And this is how the two teams set up. But there were some big changes. You had Beraldo, who came in. You had Zaire Emery, who is a fantastic player. Yeah. Mayulu, who came in a slightly different position than I was expecting. And crucially, of course, you had Ramos as well, but Hernandez. Hernandez was a really important piece for Botafogo's game plan. Were they expecting it? I don't know. Or was it something that Paiva, the coach for Botafogo, changed really quickly? But what they did was they didn't press outrageously, which is a dangerous task when it comes to PSG. But what they did brilliantly was they sort of guided the ball over to Hernandez, because with Hernandez in and Mendes out, not the same attacking verve that you would normally see from PSG. And sometimes when you're the team that's maybe not got the same amount of great players, you've got to kind of pick one guy to sort of go, you have the ball, and maybe we can stop you. They also showed a lot of tenacity, and we can show you all of that right now. So, here you go. This is Botafogo out of position. And, yeah, not timid. They're moving up the pitch. They're trying to get up the pitch, not pressing outrageously, but just guiding the team over to that left-hand side, using that sideline as a defender in itself. And then, centrally, tenacious as well, not letting them through the middle. What do they call it?
Yeah, exactly. The whole idea was to just compact the centre as much as possible and surround any PSG player that had the ball in this position, and it paid off brilliantly in this move here, being able to wriggle away and finish the chance really nice. Bit lucky with the deflection, but you need that to get past Donnarumma.
Yeah, and look, sometimes your defensive setup is what's going to lead to your goals. That's what you want to happen, because there's three sides of it. There's out of possession, in possession, and in transition. And right there, we saw them do brilliantly. But overall, they also had an attacking plan as well, didn't they?
They had some really good offensive patterns as well that we saw. Some more European, I'd like to say, and some more South American that maybe we don't get to see too often. This is a pattern that we see quite a lot, this cutting inside and then this deep cross onto the back post, something that Liverpool, for example, do really well. But this is something that I love to see, and it's this idea of staying compact on one side of the pitch. So when we see this move progress, in our European minds, let's say, we're used to seeing the ball moving towards where there's more space, where we have more players in support. So, for example, as the ball shifts back here to the defender, you see so many players on the opposite flank, and you're like, OK, there's where the space is.
Expecting that switch to recycle, aren't
exactly.
you?
But what we see a lot in South American football, and with Botafogo in particular, is they want to keep the ball where they have more players. Now, it didn't particularly work well for them in this move, but we did see that a lot in this match, and it's really interesting.
Because part of the point there is to have a plan, but also to be able to kind of keep the ball for a little bit. Because PSG, defensively are superb. They had 75% possession, 708 passes, but just 12 shots and not a single big chance. Did they underestimate Botafogo a little bit?
Yeah, I think Luis Enrique got it wrong, and it's rare for us to say that, especially this year, to rotate so heavily for this game, because a win tonight, PSG would have qualified, and then you can rest everybody, put all the kids for the third game against Seattle, because you've already through, and Seattle is nowhere near as good as Botafogo, so maybe a bit of too much rotation tonight.
Yes, and they tried to bring them all on, but it didn't make a difference. Renato Paiva, then, with the masterclass, he gave an interview after the game, and it was good fun to watch.
Brazilian teams are unbeaten so far at the Club World Cup. What do you think it is about that South American grit that works out so well? What a beautiful moment, what a moment. It means so much to them. There's a lot going on. Why do you think Brazilian teams are doing so well?
I prefer the kiss of my wife, but...
Amazing stuff. Do you know what, if I'm Renato Paiva, I'm getting that picture, I'm framing that, I'm putting that on my table in the office, because then surely he's in a job for life. Great stuff, a great victory for them as well. Let's have a little look at the socials here, because, everyone's talking about this, including the main man, Snoop Dogg. Here he is. Everyone talking about this win. It's an absolutely huge victory. Snoop Dogg there at the game in his Botafogo shirt and on the beaches of Copacabana The fans are in utter dreamland. An incredible historic win. Of course, European champions against the champions of South America, and the South Americans are on top. And in this tournament, it feels like they're on top overall because they still remain undefeated, don't they?
Yeah, and we said from the beginning, they are the ones that can compete with European teams. We don't know how far and if they can reproduce this kind of performance again and again, but it would be very interesting to see how many qualified and where in their groups, first or second, and who they face, especially in the last 16, and potentially their route all the way to the final to see if there could be more upset like tonight.
Let's get it starting to heat up now, guys. So, this is what's coming up later. Let's have a look. So, you've got Benfica against Auckland City, trying to do a little bit better than last time. Of course, they lost 10-0 in that one. That's at 5 p.m. Flamengo versus Chelsea at 7 p.m. LAFC versus Esperance at 11 p.m. and Bayern Munich against Boca Juniors at 2 a.m. And, of course, the press at 4:30. Make sure you join us. That's all from us today from the press. We'll see you again tomorrow here on DAZN.